Hannah Murray. TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. Joining us on the line now is Peter May. He's a Sunday Times best-selling crime writer of over 30 books, including the Lewis trilogy, the China thrillers, and the Enzo series. He is also a songwriter and screenwriter. He's stepped into the world of music with the release of the album Towards the Light, the first commercially produced album from the Peter May Band. Welcome to the show, Peter.
Hi, Hannah. Delighted to be here.
Oh, it's so great to chat with you again. And we've had so many lovely chats on the book show over the years. It's amazing.
We have, yeah.
Amazing to be talking about music.
It makes a change, doesn't it?
Yeah, fantastic. So
it was interesting. You're talking there when you were listing some of the books. There's one called A Silent Death, which takes place in your neck of the woods, down near Estepona, where I used to have an apartment, so where I used to write.
Yes, absolutely. I remember. It's all set down here, isn't it? And Gibraltar and Sotogrande and all around this kind of area.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, fabulous. So have you stopped with the writing now?
Shh, don't tell anybody. Well, yeah, and everybody says I'm not allowed to retire, but I think I should be allowed to retire. So I have. It doesn't mean to say there will never be another book. It just means that I have turned down all contract offers from publishers and will not write anything unless a story jumps up and slaps me in the face, and I think I'm kind of obliged to do it.
Oh, good for you. Well, it's your choice, isn't it? And how wonderful to be in a position to be turning down offers from publishers.
Well, yeah.
Amazing. So tell me about your background with regards to music then, because presumably this hasn't just come from nowhere.
No, music, I suppose you could say, was my first love. Well, not exactly my first love. My first 4 years of piano lessons left me kind of less than enthusiastic about music. I quit my piano lessons when I was about 10, I think much to the disappointment of my parents. And then I heard the Beatles. And suddenly here was music that chimed with me and spoke to me, and I wanted to play and sing and be just like that. And I formed my first band at the age of 11 and played in bands all through my teen years and my 20s. At one point, mid-teens, I think I was about 16. We were playing in a band called the Harlem Shuffle, which was billed as Scotland's top soul band. We played all over Scotland, the north of England, 4 or 5 nights a week. I was the baby of the band. The rest of the guys were a lot older. I was still at school, which got me into a lot of trouble with my headmaster, who eventually lost patience with me and expelled me. So that kind of put an end to my music career and my school career, and I turned to writing.
Gosh. So when did you start getting back into music then?
Well, I guess I've never been totally withdrawn from it. I mean, over the years, I've played music with various friends. We've done some bits and pieces of recording. And it wasn't, I suppose, until about 2012 or thereabouts that I got together with my oldest friend, who I'd formed my very first group with all those years ago when we were kids. And he was, funnily enough, living in the south of Spain, up in the mountains above Estepona near Casares. And he'd created a little studio in his villa, and he and I worked together and started writing and recording songs. He was doing most of the work because I was still busy with the books. And it wasn't really until just before COVID that I had built a home studio at my home here in France. And Stephen, my friend, came up and we got together with a bass player and a drummer, and we had 2 weeks of just fantastic fun creating music, recording stuff. And we had great plans for the future. And then sadly, Stephen got a brain tumor and died. And so I was kind of withdrawn from music for a while because of that. And then I was sitting in the studio one day, about 18 months ago, just tinkering about with the piano, and a line came to me: "Every time I think of you, I smile," and it was about Stephen, and it became a song. It I wrote it in about half an hour, and that kicked off the album. And it took me about a year to write and record the 11 songs on it.
Wow. And the songs, or a lot of the songs, are really personal and have that theme of both mortality, memory and meaning, really kind of meaningful songs and lyrics, a lot of them.
That's right. I am of an age now where, I'm long past the time of singing about teenage angst and lost love and all that sort of thing. So I'm looking back on a life, which has been pretty interesting, full of experiences. And like everybody else, I've suffered loss. I have concerns about the future. Everybody's afraid of dying. And been through lots of tragic things, and so as I did with my books, these were all kind of grist to the mill in a sense, that I would use those in the writing of my books. So it was only natural that I should use those experiences and feelings and thoughts, maybe about the world as it is now, to write music.
Yeah. And how does it feel? In one way, I suppose they're very similar, as you say, thinking of ideas that would make an interesting song in the same way as you did with your books. But they're still very different mediums. Just because you can write books, which obviously you can very successfully, it doesn't necessarily mean you can write songs, and vice versa. How has the process been? Similar or different?
Well, it's a very good observation. Just because you can do one thing doesn't mean you can do another. In a way, I've been riding two bicycles all these years. But the processes are totally different. Completely different. But if you boil them down, effectively, I'm still just telling stories. I tell stories in my books. I tell stories in my songs. It's just a different way of telling the story. When I was writing my books, it would take me maybe 6-7 months of the year to write it, to research and develop the idea and write the book. And then the other 4 or 5 months of the year would be spent in promotion. But when the book was finished and went out, it would take a reader maybe 12, 15 hours to read it. They're very unlikely to read it twice, and it's gone. Whereas an album, like I've just recorded, it took me, a year to write and record it. But people can listen to it in under 40 minutes. And they can listen to it again and again and again, and they can listen to it in bits and pieces, their favourites, and, so in a way, it's a much more direct and lasting way of communicating your thoughts and ideas.
Yeah. And have you not found yourself coming up with an idea for a song and being tempted by thinking, this would make a great novel?
Well, actually, in a strange way, it's been the kind of other way around. A lot of the sort of things I've written about in the songs are themes that I've touched on in the books, themes of regret and loss. My sort of most successful series of books, the Lewis trilogy, in the second of those books, I had created a character called Tormod. It was an elderly man who was suffering from dementia, and I had drawn my experiences from life for that because I'd looked after my father in the last 2 to 3 years when he had been suffering from dementia. And so when it came to writing the music, that's one of the themes I chose to write about. And in fact, I wrote the title track of the album. It's called Towards the Light, was written in first person from the point of view of my father, realizing that he was suffering from dementia and rapidly going downhill.
And was that really hard to write? I imagine going back and reliving those times with your father was difficult to do, and then trying to get into the mind of your father and what he must have been going through. I imagine it was quite emotional for you doing that.
It was. It It's funny though, you go through an emotional period when you're creating, when you're writing the lyric, when the music is coming to you. And then, of course, the whole process of recording means that you're doing it again and again and again and again. And in a way, it kind of loses its impact on you. And then when you've finished it and you come back to it with a space of time and you listen to it in an objective sort of way, suddenly you find tears pricking your eyes and that emotional thing comes back and hits you again. And I find that that's true of lots of the songs, that when I listen to them again with a bit of time and distance, they have an emotional effect on me.
Yeah. And there's the other song that you mentioned that you started the album with, was the one that was very much based on the fact of losing your friend. That must have been equally difficult to write. That was about that. I Wasn't There was that one. Can you tell us about that?
That's right. Yeah, that's the one that began with the Every Time I Think of You, I Smile. And it was written about 2 years after Stephen died. And I guess it had taken me that period of time to come to terms with the grief of losing him, because he'd been my oldest friend. We started school together aged 4. The song really was about the fact that when he finally went, I was away doing a book tour somewhere and wasn't able to get down to the south of Spain where he died. And I always felt kind of guilty about that, the fact that I hadn't been there. And I think a lot of people, chime with a lot of people, because it's a very common experience, guilt that somebody dies when you weren't there to, hold their hand and see them through that last moment. Mm.
And it's a horrible feeling as well, guilt in any form after somebody's died, because the reality is there's nothing that you can do about it. There's nothing that can be changed. And I think, as you say, a lot of people can relate to feeling like that, and you somehow have to sort of get over it and stop feeling like that, because otherwise it's a horrible place to be in, isn't it, that feeling?
It is. I mean, I think the good thing about being able to write or create music is that you can process those feelings in a creative way by writing about them. And I think in doing that, you also help other people who maybe don't have the same creative resources that you have, but they recognize the same emotions, the same feelings, can identify with them. And so in a way, you end up speaking for them.
Yeah, no, that's true. And that's the wonderful power of music, isn't it? People can be listening to a song that obviously someone else has written that they don't know, and that doesn't matter, because the melody and the lyrics can really speak to you, and you can really relate to it.
Oh, absolutely true. Yeah. I mean, I when I think back to the 60s when I was growing up, all those, the Beatles, the Stones, the Kinks, the Who, and lots of artists from that era provided the soundtrack to my life. And that music meant a huge amount to me as I was growing up, and obviously influenced a great deal the way that I write and play music now.
Yeah. And does it still take you back when you hear those songs? Does it make you smile and you can picture yourself being a youngster, being in your bedroom, or being at a school disco or whatever?
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean, music has that wonderful effect. It's a kind of time machine. It can take you back to a moment, somebody that you knew, something that happened to you, even a kind of sense of a summer's day where, it was filled with the smell of, blooms, and it's just evocative, and it triggers memory in the same way that smell does. I mean, I think smells bring back moments in time, and music does exactly the same thing.
Lovely. And I feel strange talking about what's next for you, because we're obviously really talking about this album, but I always did it with the book, so I'm going to do it with the music. Have you thought about a second album?
Yeah, I mean, I will probably start a second album sometime early in the new year. I haven't given it a great deal of thought at the moment because I've been so focused on finishing this. Because, you know, apart from the writing and recording of the music, there's another huge process in the mixing and the mastering and the packaging and the promotion and all of that. Just in the same way as there was with the books, you know, with the books, I would spend half the year writing and half the year promoting. And you don't really sit down and start thinking about the next project until you're kind of free of the previous one.
Yeah.
So I figure sometime early in the new year I'll sit down in the studio with the piano tuned in and the mic turned on and see what comes out.
Yeah, great stuff. And have you done many gigs? Have you got a tour or anything like that happening?
I think I'm probably a bit old for all that, but no, it's not. I mean, I would love to. But it's not really practical. You know, my bass player lives in Leeds. The synth player lives in Scotland. The guitarist lives in Switzerland. The drummer's in France. Trying to get us all together to actually, rehearse and bring together a performance level would be very, very difficult. And then there's all the logistics of traveling, moving equipment around, and all the rest of it. It just doesn't seem practical to me.
No, fair enough.
Even though I would love to do it.
Yes, well, we shall see. Watch this space. In the meantime, people can, of course, download and listen to the music from Apple Music, Spotify, all the usual outlets. The album is called Towards the Light, and it's by the Peter May Band, so they can find all the info there. So we're going to play Towards the Light, Peter, which was all about your father. What was your father's name?
Leslie.
Well, this one's for Leslie.
Thank you.
Peter May, thank you so much for being with us. Lovely to chat with you again.
Thanks, Hannah. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
I used to recognize my hand when I wrote down my own name. Now the words have turned to strangers and the spelling's not the same. I fill a page or two with stuff seen through my clouded lens. But all I write is not enough, and still it makes no sense. And I'm traveling now, traveling straight towards the light. Daylight slowly fading leaves me trapped inside this endless night. The woman that I loved has gone, and all her memories too, replaced now by a stranger who just treats me like a fool. Still from time to time I catch a glimpse of that sweet girl with whom I danced the night away in such a different world. And I'm traveling now, traveling straight towards the light. Daylight slowly fading leaves me trapped inside this endless night. The child I raised and loved for years has come to take my hand. I pull it fast away from hers, and angrily I stand. I don't know you, you don't know me, so why should I pretend? Someone that I've ever known, not even as a friend. And I'm traveling now, traveling straight towards the light. Daylight slowly fading leaves me trapped inside this endless night. the dark. I really love you, son.
Oh, really beautiful. The Peter May Band and Towards the Light.
TRE, your voice in Spain.